Every life is having value. And one of the reasons that I'm confident that Arkansas this time will have a Republican speaker, a Republican Senate president, is because people are finally beginning to understand that as much as the local Democrats want to distance themselves from their national party, they can't do it. They can't go to their convention in Charlotte, where God is taken out of their platform, and come back here and say, well, it's not what we think. They can't go when virtually the entire week is spent insulting women, making them believe that the only thing a woman in America really wants is a free abortion and $9 worth of birth control pills, when the women I talk to want decent jobs, safe places for their kids to grow up and play. They want to be able to know that if their kids go to college, they won't have to move back in at home and stare at posters on their ceiling, because they're actually going to have jobs, something they don't have under Obama. I've told many people, I run some small businesses now, and I think many of you here operate small businesses. I've not found anybody, maybe there is somebody, I'm sure there is, I just haven't met them yet, who is a small business operator, or for that matter, a large business operator, who says, man, the policies of the Barack Obama administration have done me some good. I don't hear that from anybody. I hear people saying, I may have to close my doors. I'm probably going to have to let some people off. When Obamacare hits, it's not going to be a matter of hiring anybody. It's which person has to be let go to pick up the cost. A lot of employers now are scaling their hours for employees back to less than 30 hours so they won't fall under the premises of Obamacare. It's not a matter of being mean. It's a matter of trying to survive and keep their businesses open. And this is an administration that doesn't understand that, because Barack Obama has never signed the front of a paycheck, only the back of the paycheck. And most of those paychecks have come from us as taxpayers from the government. He's never been involved in a private sector business experience. No wonder he doesn't fully understand that. So what I've said is that if I were going to bring employees together, here's what I tell them real simply. Folks, if you want to keep your job, you need to hope Barack Obama loses his. But if you're so doggone determined that you want him to keep his job, then you just better buckle up and be prepared to lose your job, because in this kind of environment, somebody is probably going to lose a job, either him or a lot of people working for small business owners across America. That's what we're about. And people are beginning to recognize that here at the state level it matters. Now, part of the reason I believe that we have an extraordinary opportunity, and will, in fact, have majorities in both houses, is because we got great candidates. You can have a lot of money, you can have terrific machinery, but if you don't have good candidates, you don't win elections. And part of the reason that is reason to celebrate is because we got some great candidates, many of whom have come up through the ranks of serving in their city councils and their county courts, and they've served on boards and agencies, and they understand what they're getting into. Which makes me wonder about their sanity, if they really understand what they're getting into. Doyle was talking a moment ago about some of those early days, and believe me, I talked to Congressman Crawford. He's going to win his election overwhelmingly. Tim Griffin is obviously going to win his election. Steve Womack is going to win his election. Tom Cotton is going to win his election. Arkansas will have 4 Republican congressmen this year. We've never, ever had that, ever. And part of that, we have great candidates and great congressmen. But I can remember the days when Warren Dupree and I were held to the back of the parade on the 4th of July. I won't tell you which town, but there's 2 towns in northeast Arkansas that have the big parades, and we were told, well, we'll get you in there sometime. And we waited, and they got all the Democratic office holders, all the Democratic candidates, they got all the floats, the Boy Scout troops, they got the bands, then they got the horses, and then Warren and I got in the parade behind the horses. Do you know what you drive through and smell and see when you go behind the horses in the parade? So after all those years of getting that, it is an exciting day for Republicans to be able to go to the state capitol, not to say, "Mother, may I, please, and would it be okay," but to be able to say, we believe that the pathway to prosperity is in keeping taxes low, cutting spending, making sure that what we do as government is quality and efficient and effective, and give us a chance, because I believe it will make a difference. Now, to be fair, there were good Democrats in the legislature when I served, and I'm grateful for them, and I don't ever want to dismiss the idea that it was without opportunity to work with some very decent and wonderful public servants who put their own party aside and were willing to work with me. And I'm mindful of that, and I will always be grateful that there were a number of good, civic-minded Democrats when I served. But I also know that there were things we could not get done because we got stonewalled. We could have saved this state millions and millions of dollars by reorganizing the state government, making it smaller and more efficient. But we couldn't get it through a House committee because they wanted to play political games. And by the way, one of the most popular things that ever got done was making it easy to get a card tag so you didn't have to go to 7 offices and spend 3 days and a bunch of money. We did it where you could do it 4 minutes on the internet. I thought that was going to be the easiest thing we ever put before the legislature. It took us the entire session, and not because people didn't know it was a good idea and know that the people wanted it, but because there were at that time some Democrats that just wanted to play partisan political games and do everything they could to stop it, because they knew that if Republicans got credit for good ideas that made government more efficient, it'd make people realize they ought to elect more Republicans. Well, now more Republicans are going to get elected, and let's just make sure you guys get out there and keep great ideas going and make the Republican majority not some temporary blip in the political landscape of this state, but let's make it something permanent and for all time. And Doyle, I want to say thanks again for your leadership of this party. Thanks to all of you who are running for office, for the state legislature, and for your county and city offices as well. And between now and November 6th, let's make sure that Mitt Romney is our next president, that we have a majority in the U.S. Senate and the Congress to give President Romney a force to work with. And let's make sure that for all the talk that the current governor in this state has had about bipartisanship, he might finally get to experience what that's going to have to mean. Really working with Republicans who will control the agenda of the House and Senate. And I will say, welcome to my world. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. God bless you.